Welcome everybody. Welcome to the time and space. If you're very still, you can leave your camera on. But usually for the meditation we leave it off. But you're welcome if you're still. A sense of settling, a sense of being here, a sense of being in touch with this time, this space. Your own time, your own space. Recollecting, remembering that you wish yourself well. In bodies like this. And the breath. Allowing the stillness of this body and breath support the intention to relinquish worldly concerns, the intention to see things as they are, to know things as they are. To receive things as they are. As attention is offered, given, noticing the expectations, how you'd like to be, how you'd like things to be, how you'd like to get rid of things or what you don't want. And receiving it all. The gift of attention. In breath received, out breath released. Suggestions. Knowing is as it is. The experience is as it is. And for this 10, 15 minutes. Short practice of stillness in the body and the knowing, allowing the well-wishing, recollected. Life wishes itself well. Eyes open or closed. The breath received and released. Experienced, known. An in-breath, an out-breath. Wholly experienced. Interest and joy and ease. The knowing knows. a willingness to bear, to experience as it is. The stillness of the body can support this. But, nothing to run away from, nothing to run to, not a demand for comfort. It's an experience of this moment. Noticing the knowing. A practice in this time, this space. In this moment. Noticing the noticing, noticing that which knows, knowing the knowing. And this appreciation of this capacity, this faculty, this ability this release. Of expectation, of fear, worry, regret, of restlessness and dullness, released in the knowing. And the ending, known, the experience, known, reviewed. I'd like to speak a little bit more today about what I covered maybe last week, Samasankappa. A lot of interest is on the factors of the path. And in the wisdom factor, you have Sammaditthi and Samasankappa. And I usually use the term intention. And I spoke last time about the intention not to harm, not to exploit, and not to indulge. And so that's good. It's a good way of looking at it, and then to need a bit more. It's also translated as thought, and also translated as resolve. So intention in terms of resolve, in terms of what do I resolve? And the way that it's actually, I think, put in the scriptures, it starts with the thought, the resolution of renunciation, making the renunciation clear. In any choice, there's a certain amount of renunciation, because if you choose one thing, then you can't do something else. It's the way of things. So, and the resolve and the intention to not to dwell in ill will, vyapada, avyapada, this ill will, a sense of wishing ill or harm. I say harm, and this is the resolve that there's as described as Samma, or in accordance with the Dhamma. And then the thoughts and the intentions of uh, non-cruelty, ahimsa, harmlessness. Uh, it's it's these things that are different ways maybe of describing or talking about uh, harm and exploitation, both of which are don't lead to peace. And if one and if intention is karma, that's the karma that will uh, is always going to be unskillful. Um, and the renunciation is, particularly the renunciation of just indulgence. The thoughts of renunciation are thoughts of non-indulgence, and this is the as one feels a certain separateness, then there's the tendency to indulge, and that indulging is like deliberately making oneself stupid. It's not that one doesn't enjoy or appreciate goodness or things, but indulging is like you getting lost in it and giving up freedom. So it's actually also a way of almost self-harming, which can go further into cruelty and harming oneself and exploiting oneself, so beating yourself up and blaming yourself in that way. And these are ways of talking about what one can train oneself in one's life. And then when you get that going, it's in terms of intentions and actions, following through. Then, as you think to yourself, if you're thinking in the way that you talk to yourself, is concerned with the Dhamma, is concerned with the Eightfold Path, is concerned with aspects of the Dhamma, that is what will lift you out of the mundane, because your thoughts will be much more to do with that than with the Dhamma than with thoughts of it. What can I indulge in? How can I harm? Or what can I get out of this? And this is how the Sammasankappa supports Samaditi, because it will support the assumption, the view, the paradigm that in the doing of something that's skillful and in the relinquishing of that or the overcoming of that which is unskillful, there will be good results, and that is one of the factors of samaditi, right view. So I think when you see how this volition or this resolve in one's life can support, the other factor of wisdom, which is samadhi, then you can see its its value. it's worth the practice. When one thinks of oneself as one goes through one's life and one deals with people and deals with things, uh, not indulging the senses, not deliberately being harmful, and not deliberately exploiting. And then when one thinks to oneself, then turning the thoughts over the in the Dhamma, and then that will be the way that it supports samavayama, effort that's in accordance with the truth. So you've got you have the attentiveness to the moment, so that you're not going to let your thoughts dwell in cruelty and indulgence and in harming yourself or others. And this will, on the samadhi side, it'll also help with the mindfulness, sila samadhi panya, in getting it'll you keep your attention going. That this is my resolve, is to practice samma sankappa. Then that will support mindfulness, and then you can. And then you can, when you think of things, you don't think about coveting things or thinking that you're going to be, if I get this for myself, then I'll get. He's got that. Why can't I have that? Or and you don't. This will keep your heart. If your resolve is not on indulging and your thought is not on harming, then you won't also get caught in wanting people to suffer. They should be punished. It's a way of resting the heart, and really you can start to relax a bit and trust that your thinking is not going to go that way. You can, when it comes up, you can, because if you've made the resolve, Sammasankappa and Nekama is a little bit about adhitthana. Nekama is one of the paramitas, as you probably know. It's one of the habits that lead to support awakening. And it's the next one is adhitthana, which I think it's close to that. And that adhitthana is like resolving this. So it's determining something. So right resolve is also about determining something. And it's like setting something up to go in a direction, and then keeping an eye on it will, and the effort will get you the samavayama and samasati. So keep going with that. You can, if you keep going with that, then you can reflect. When you're about to do something, what is the intention in doing this? Is there something? And then when you look back on something, you can look at that. So it's about developing and practicing an aspect of wisdom. Samma sankappa is part of wisdom. And this is a path of wisdom, this, this Buddhist path. It's about recollecting and remembering what you're doing and why you're doing it. And your intention and your resolve that will be the karma that you create. That'll be the action. It'll come from the intention, and then how you act mentally, verbally, and physically will come from that resolve. And that's the way to set the direction. And then the opposite will be the akusala. Will be the unwholesome actions of thought, speech, and body. Because if they've not got the samasankappa right, then they're going to be unskillful. And then you can see where you get to the karma that leads to the end of karma, and that's the karma that's really special. It is in the chanting. You've got the third type of karma that's written undeclared, but that one just means that it's not really sure. So I wouldn't trust that. It's like karma that leads to the end of the karma is the practice of the path. And if you're making that karma in your heart, in your thoughts, then your thoughts will dwell on the Dhamma. And that's the way that well, and you can reflect on what did I do, why did I do it, and this is the advice for Rahula that the Buddha gave his son, which was, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What have I done? And what was the result? And that sort of consideration is worth it. And as I've said before, you can do this in the morning and in the evening. In the morning to reflect on, with the sense of gratitude for what's allowing this to have the opportunity to be alive, and what supported skillfulness in your life. So, and then at the end of the day, also to reflect on what's happened, how's it happened, and then what kusala karma has been possible today by thought, by speech, by action, and then it'll continue to support and develop some, with luck, some momentum, and but the intention turning inwards, the intention of knowing what is happening, how is it happening, and giving yourself the stop and know, and practicing what it feels like to stop and know. The sitting meditation is one. The walking meditation is also good. The standing, the lying down. So not to think there's not a time, there's not a place. In these Zoom things, you can. It's clear that every time and space is an opportunity, because there are all sorts of people doing it in all sorts of ways all over the world. And then, if you pick this up later, or some, not on today, the 21st of January, but sometime in the future, if you pick this up, then everybody's got the opportunity in that time and that space to reflect. It's not bound. The possibility is present in every moment. And every moment of the life that you're experiencing is the opportunity. Um, and that there is the life is so, so precious. Um, and not to be, um, even if it's difficult, there's, if you, there's still the possibility. So do take care, with the resolve that one has. What am I doing this for? Um, you know, we do it for ourselves and for others? Because there is this, as long as there's this body and this separation, then there is self and others, and it's a conventional thing, and it's based on this. But you just do the best you can, not to renounce the sensuality, um, renounce the indulgence. And there's an indulgence in the mind, something when you enjoy a fantasy, or you enjoy a, a, an idea of what might be, and that indulgence is not skillful. Um, it's not that there needn't be plans, but recognize that they're plans and it's not what's going to happen. Or if you dwell in a sense of cruelty or in a sense of how can I get my way, then this is also a miccha sankappa at the very basic level, um, and to watch that, because that will then, your actions of your verbally and physically will follow that as you as you as you try to manipulate to get what you want, and that is not going to lead to your own benefit or to others' benefit. So the renunciation is the thoughts of uh, giving up of sensuality and giving up of dwelling in that. So if you, it's not to say that you should thoughts of non-cruelty, non-indulgence, and non-harming. So if you go on with thoughts if you indulge in your thoughts of trying to get what you want of things, or your fantasies about what you want things to be, it probably won't be the most skillful thing that you think about. It's more like, you know, what you can think about, how can I help? Because I wish to benefit others. Um, but I don't, if you keep thinking, I want my way, I want to get what I want out of this, then that's a thought of indulgence. Because how things turn out won't be as you wish. Things will turn out as they do, um, and well, for the best. Well, you do the best you can, but how things turn out will be just how they turn out. So thoughts of renunciation of sensuality, thoughts of non-harming. And if I do try to help, at least can I not do any harm? And thoughts of non-exploitation, so not thoughts of not, and intentions and volitions, not to milk the experience, or try to exploit others in what you do, what you say. Then that's the karma that will be skillful, kusala, and there will be good results. And then the attention inwards, and a sense of release. Whatever occurs is how it is. I don't need to manipulate it to get what I want out of it. Um, I'll do the best I can and leave the rest to the causes and conditions that are just the way things are. These are things to the way things are. You set your volition and keep an eye on the effort uh, of uh, not increasing the unwholesome, uh, not picking up the unwholesome, uh, maintaining the wholesome, picking up new wholesome. So there's just a way of today, just to give you a way of getting a perspective on your resolution, making New Year's resolutions, or you're making resolutions in your life on things to not not indulge, not exploit, not harm. And because indulging is a type of self-harming and will lead to uh, harm for others too, and then not exploiting and um, not being cruel and not deliberately harming. Uh, so those are the things to consider in your practice of training and homing your wisdom and your intention, so that your karma is kusala and not akusala, and is karma that leads to the end of karma and not karma that leads to further confusion and pain. That's probably enough for me talking today. I'd like to leave some time, more time for questions maybe, if there are any, and see what comes up. Thank you. Has anybody any questions on Samma Sankappa or anything else? Sometimes there's the feeling of nostalgia that brings a little sadness. Knowing the past is only belonged to the past, and whoever was once there in our life may not be there anymore. Noticing and knowing this feeling, what else could we do to bring some benefits to our mind with this feeling? Separated from the loved is dukkha. Separated from the light is dukkha. Appiyehi sampayogo dukkhopiyehi. Separated from the beloved is dukkha. Separated from the beautiful is dukkha. I think the thing is to understand the words I initially said. By the Samma Vayama, that what I'll come back to that one. But in terms of the nostalgia, is like I think the Portuguese word is also sometimes there, and I can't remember what that is, but that's so that sense of remembering something that was beautiful in the past, or remembering the home, or that sense of uh, that taste of the past that was so beautiful. Ah, there you go. Saudade. You can put that to everybody if you like. Um, yes, and in Portuguese they have the songs of Fado. So um, so the way of maybe turning that is to recognize gratitude for what was in the past, that it was there, and then honoring the past by um, thinking, well, what can I what can I do that will honor that blessing that I felt, or that goodness that I felt, or that wonderful thing that I felt, and how can I behave now that respects and doesn't just indulge, but spurs me on with a sense of gratitude and appreciation that was possible. That's maybe what you can do. But also just notice it begins, it ends, it's not sure, it's arisen dependent upon conditions. It's not going to last, the old favorites, because, that I don't know what this second one, whenever you have feelings of love or hate for anything whatsoever, these will be your aids and partners in building paramita. That's a translation of something that Lumpur Cha said, and I think it was actually um, written down and as a translation by a monk who was around at the time and then sent to Ajahn Sumedharama. And all the paramitas can be built, can be developed. All of the wholesome habits, paramitas are wholesome habits. They're the opposite of kilesa, which are unwholesome habits. Um, the the paramitas are the wholesome habits, and all of them, if you develop one fully, you'll develop the rest. They all work, and you know, just keep going. Be patient, um, and be wise. They'll all be there. Um, and the senses of but the sort of self view, or the sense of not feeling right and not feeling at home. One of the ways that Ajahn Chah was described was that he always felt at home. It always appeared that he felt at home. Whatever was happening, he felt, I'm here. And I think it's a sort of an acceptance and a willingness to um, be with the whole business of of this limitation. It's a real understanding of the unsatisfactoriness. It's not supposed to be any other way. This body is supposed to be like this, however it is. It's like this. Um, the actions and the speech and the thoughts that one's having or had are just this much. They can't be any other way. You don't have to uh, push or pull them, really honest. It's, your resolve is that you don't wish to harm and you don't wish to um, exploit and you don't wish to indulge. But whatever occurs is just this much. Um, do remember the blessings that you have offered to the universe, you have offered in your life, and the blessings that you have received. Remember the goodness of your life. Um, and rejoice in it. Really allow yourself to rejoice in the in the goodness of your life. And when I turn my attention, when the attention is turned inwards, and there's a sense of oh, it's like this, the sense of I don't. There's nothing I really need to do. There's nothing right now. It's okay. I can cope with this, and allowing the breath and the moment to be appreciated, without having to gloss over it or agitate around it, um, but lightly smile around it. It's like this. A smile is okay. They they say that the Lord Buddha just smiled. He didn't laugh out out loud. Um, and that because there's and a sense of ease in that. So it's not a sort of sometimes in a way of trying to become get comfortable. There's almost a sort of nervousness in the smile, but when the smile is just release, it's like this. There's an ease in this. Um, that can I feel really um, help or appreciate. So you know, but do just remember the goodness and the beauty of your life. That's that you have if you have done, and then remember the other thing is to remember that you haven't done all sorts of horrible and cruel things. And that's also something you haven't done. That's also the, something to I haven't got that to worry about. Um, I don't I don't know really more than that. My refuge and the refuge in Buddha I find is that sense of I wish to learn from this. I want to see. I want to realize the truth. I want to realize the Dhamma of this. So what is happening? That interest in this is already a powerful route to release, or a powerful way to release, is that resolve to understand. It's like, and then to notice, well, what does it feel like? Where's the beginning of this feeling? What's the edge of it? What's the space in? What's the time? Those sorts of things can really help. Maybe. And unfairness, I don't know I don't think that fairness and unfairness are something that it's such a muddle. You know, there's fair and unfair, and I think really, on one level, the whole thing of being alive is unfair. it's it's not fair. It's just incredibly unfair. Trying to make it fair is a route to madness. I think 'cause there is the whole thing is completely unfair. Um, there's always going to be better and worse and more skilled and unskilled and I think the only place that we can really say that maybe there's fairness, or there's equality anyway, and that we're all beings are subject to getting older, getting sick, and certainly all beings will die. If you want to ask about where there's equality, that's where we're equal, and that's where we're brothers and sisters. And the only, the what we can do about this is, not dwell in aversion, not dwell in a sense of neediness, and then, as much as we can, our emotions can be of metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, and our resolve is not to indulge in the senses, not to harm, and not to be cruel. So, we can only do that much, but there is no fairness on the worldly level. It's always going to be gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute, pleasure and pain. It's always going to be those. That's the way that the world turns. If you're an individual, that's what we're going to experience. And it's not going to be fair. It's not fair for anybody, for everybody. It's not fair. And expecting it to be fair is going to be more problem. Yeah, work with your paramis wherever you can, and but do use them to get to the other ones as well. Is all pure asceticism based on values such as pride and incapable of leading? Well, self-torment is tormenting yourself in terms of deliberately causing pain to yourself. Is not it's not ultimately profitable, and it's painful. It's not the way of what it'll do is it'll increase the sense of separateness, because it fixes a sense of self. And I am causing pain to myself. It doesn't need to non-abiding. That's the sadness of deliberately tormenting yourself. It makes the sense of self stronger, and it's painful. So it might be. It's not. It's not. It's not running away and making yourself more ignorant. It's just not going to lead to good results. Running away and just trying to get to the next thing and indulging in sensuality is just like covering over the your head with the duvet and trying to cocoon yourself in some sort of comfort. That's just low and base and waste of time. But it doesn't solve anything. With deliberately causing yourself pain, it's just going to increase the sense of me, and that's not going to be ultimately profitable or liberating. So that's the danger of that one. I wouldn't, if you get the idea of I'm working on a paramita, you're not. Don't take it the whole thing too seriously, or yourself too seriously. It's not. It's a suggestion. It's just a way of talking. Paramitas are a way of talking. You think, well, I'll do this one, but I won't do that one. But notice, but what more than that is like to notice if I'm developing or trying to develop dana paramita, how can I develop all the rest as I develop dana paramita, not or sila. So it's not like thinking I'll just do this one. It's like figuring out how you can incorporate all of it into developing patience, kindness, equanimity. Yeah. So it's and wisdom. So you don't leave out the rest and just develop dana. You use the one to develop the rest. Don't get lazy. It's don't fool yourself. That's the suggestion that I would give to that one. Um, it's, okay. So thank you all. I think that's. The Tonga are not lying down to sleep, are they? Nesijik. Well, you don't have to do it, so don't worry about it. It's a way of developing effort, and because sleep can be such an indulgence. Mm. Now I know that I can just you know, turn over and decide goodbye, cruel world. But it's also really helpful to get enough sleep. So don't. And I did find that when I was trying to do this practice, I found that I actually slept more because I was more worried that I wasn't going to sleep. So I did more sleep. So it was a bit counterproductive. It was a long, long time ago. I haven't done it a lot since. But staying up all night or staying up late is something that I still sometimes do. Not to worry. So thank you, and so the stopping of the recording can be now.